Hey guys, Kamina the Koach here. I don't know, I guess this is a trend, talking, doing videos while I'm on my way to work. I know that other people do it. I don't know why I'm doing it. Anyways, I just wanted to do an update. So I had began this video because I had lived overseas for almost a decade and worked in 8 different countries as an educator in some form or fashion. So I had created this channel because I was doing coaching exclusively for people who wanted to go overseas to teach, because in general it seems like Americans have this inborn fear. So I wanted to really help people escape. In my time, so this video is really about what now. So it's been 2 years that I've been back in the United States after almost a decade of living abroad. And so I just wanted to give an update. Okay, so it's so much. I came back to the United States in March of 2020, shortly after COVID became a thing. So January, December of 2019 and 2020 is when it kicked off. And yeah, so I came back to the United States. I was living in Myanmar, and people ask me a lot, do I regret coming back? And so here's the thing. I was in Myanmar. There was really no practical way that I could ride out COVID in Myanmar. And shortly after I came back to the United States, Myanmar entered into some kind of coup, I guess. Not to say that Myanmar was ever free, to be quite honest, but they had an election shortly after our election, and they claimed it was fake. And so they were always militarily run before. Then they released Aung San Suu Kyi out of house arrest and let her behave as the figurehead, I guess. And this election, they didn't like it. They didn't like the results. So they put her back in house arrest. And I just had to stop watching it because it was too much. But anyways, my point being is there's no way I could have stayed in Myanmar to ride out COVID. There's no way I could have done that. So I don't regret coming back. Another reason I don't regret coming back is because I'm a transracial late discovery adoptee, and I know that's a mouthful. So put simply, I was a black child adopted by a white family, so that's transracially adopted. And then late discovery, I didn't find out until I was 32 that I was adopted. So a mouthful and a headful, if you can wrap your head around how crazy that is. And I guess in my time overseas, I was trying to heal the other stuff. Because I was 32 when I found out. So later than that, when I went overseas, and I was probably 33, 34, something like that when I went overseas. And so I was just dealing with compound trauma, stuff that had happened later on in life. I really didn't know or didn't think that adoption itself had been any kind of real cause of trauma for me. And so it was really good for me to come back to the United States and enter into crisis, because it kind of let me, or helped me to understand that I had much deeper wounds as a part of being taken from my mother at birth. They call that next 9 months after a child is born the 4th trimester, because the baby doesn't even know that the baby is separate of the mother's body at that point. So being born already quite traumatic, and then being born and not being able to find your home. Babies who are adopted often live in the first several months of their life in constant fear of death, and that causes rewiring of the brain, serious rewiring of the brain. And it leaves us in this very activated state of fight or flight all the time. So lots of health issues, all this stuff. So actually anyone who has experienced pre-verbal trauma, any kind of serious trauma before you can speak, it is likely that your brain has been rewired in these ways. So stuff that I had to learn when I started learning how adoption effed me up. So anyways, came back to the United States March of 2020 and couldn't find a job. I worked online a couple of different places during COVID. I finished up my degree, thank goodness, but I did the degree so that I could be more marketable overseas, really. And then my master's degree is in instructional design. So really, this is the heyday of instructional design, but it's not really something I want to do. I don't love instructional design, not really. I really love training teachers, but anyway. So finished my degree, lots of online work here and there. I never taught online. I bought lots of stuff to teach online, but I never started. I never started. So never taught online. I did do a bunch of other stuff online. And eventually I worked for a temp agency, a couple of places. I didn't really meet. There was somebody I'd known for a really long time, and we had been kind of dancing around each other for decades. And so we decided to give it a try, and he was out here in Arizona. So I'd had a major crisis. I decided to submit my saliva for a DNA test to Ancestry, DNA, and Family Tree. I wish I wouldn't have done Family Tree, but Ancestry would have been fine. 23andMe I probably should have done, but anyways. So I started seeing this guy. I submitted my DNA for Ancestry because I had a major crisis. I'm playing that part now. I have a major crisis on my birthday. I've had several crises on my birthday, not while I was overseas, but while I was in the United States. I actually felt much healthier overseas, but neither here nor there. So I had a big crisis, almost died. Did my DNA. Started seeing this guy who was here in Arizona, and thank goodness I did, because I needed the support system, because it was crazy. I got a person to help me from a Facebook group called DNA Detectives. I got her to help me. She had me call the Texas courts, because Dallas is an adoptee-friendly county, because something to do with the judge there. So they had me call and see if I could get my records, because that's where I was born. And they ended up directing me to someone else who was actually in Texas, and that's where I was born. Racist as the day is long, and which is very triggering for me, because race is such a thing, because I'm black and I was adopted by white racist people, and racism is such a triggering thing for me, and so covert. Lots of people don't think they're racist, and this was one of those women. Doesn't think she's racist. She is an adoptive mother. She really felt like I needed to find my mother, and she is a mother who relinquished a child, so she really felt like I needed to find my mother. I didn't really care about my mother. I wanted to find my father, because I knew that I was given away because of racism. I knew that I had a white mother who got pregnant by a black man, and her family was like, nah. And once I found her, that was the truth. That's what happened. And I didn't need to find her to know that. I didn't need to find her to know that. But if I wouldn't have found her, I wouldn't have found my dad's family. So I didn't really have a choice. So found my biological mother, who I only talked to for 2 weeks because she was so racist, and her and my brother ended up ghosting me and blocking me on social media and stuff, and I don't care. I don't care. But she did give me my father's name, and I was able to find his family. Unfortunately, he passed not too long after I had found out I was adopted, and I'm shocked at how much that still takes the breath out of me, even though he wasn't the greatest guy. He wasn't. He didn't have a great history. I understand why he didn't have a great history. I met my brothers and my sister, who live in Ohio, who I haven't been able to go see yet, but I will. and most of his family was very receptive. Some were not, and some really were not. So it really isn't about how I was received. It was just so important that it happened. It was just so important. It's hard to put into words what it did for me. But in addition to being healing, it also made me sick. It was so stressful. I was actually really, really sick for a while. It was pretty scary. The last year, like all of 2021 was just really pretty scary for me. I was just in a really bad place. I did my DNA in January of 2021. So the entire year was really just hard and stressful, emotional and sad. I was suicidal this last holiday season. I was in a really bad space. It's been really hard. No kidding. No kidding. I've started a radical healing journey. Radical. We're not going to go into all the things that I've done. You can check the channel out if you're curious, because I'm posting this in my teachers group. So I'm not going to go into all the methods that I used for healing, but they're radical. So if you're curious, go check out my channel. I cataloged all this stuff because when I began this process, I didn't feel like there were enough people speaking about it. So I made sure to catalog my whole journey. After going through some really radical attempts at healing, I've actually finally reached a space of peace that I have not had in my entire life. I'm 43 years old. I've never experienced this level of peace before in my life, and it's spectacular. I don't have words for it. Having said all that, I have had another realization that my predictions for the United States were very accurate. My predictions for the world were very accurate, and I don't really feel anxious or stuck or panicked, but I do feel I am actively looking for an exit, because all the stuff I said was gonna go down has. And if you're watching what's going on and you think that everything is okay, I'm not sure what you're watching. I've been predicting World War III, I guess, for a decade, and I didn't want to believe. I wanted to believe that it would happen after I was gone, but here we are. So my intention always was, well, after a certain point, was to stay in Mexico. So I've applied to a lot of jobs in Mexico. It is unfortunate that even with a master's degree, most of the jobs are to teach kids, and I don't have a license, and I don't want to teach kids, to be honest. I want to work at university level, and it's just not as easy as it used to be. The salaries are still really, really low. It may be too late. It may be too late for me to get out. If you're contemplating coming back, don't. I really, if I could say anything to teachers that are already overseas or expats that are already overseas, stay there. Don't come back here. We're not headed for good things, and there's no way to stop it. And I wish that I could get out, but I'm not particularly panicked about getting out, but I am actively looking to get out. But I'm not panicked about it. You know, I always knew that it was coming, and I have a sense of peace. Again, a sense of peace about me that I never had before. So, you know, if I get out, I do. If not, then I end up being part of the healing for the other people that are stuck here. So, you know, it is what it is. So anyways, I just wanted to share this update with you. I do talk to some of my mother's family, but not talking to her. Found my dad's family. It was meaningful. Made the move out to Arizona, which has been wonderful. I love it out here. I'm working as an admissions person at a small private school, which is actually pretty cool. It is expensive as F and whoa, it is expensive. I'm ready to go. If you work at a university and you want to give me a university position, reach out. Or if you have a train the trainer position or something, please reach out. If you are someone with childhood trauma and you want to try to check out a session, see what we might be able to cook up, I would be more than happy to talk to you. To anyone, really. My email is Kamina the Koach with a K, please, at gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out. Until next time, wishing you love, light, peace, and joy.